Okay, so we're going to review for your Chapter 11 quiz on Monday. It's kind of pieced together in that some of the questions I made up, and they of course align with the types of questions that you'll see on your quiz and your test. And then I went back in your book and found some similar graphing type problems, but we're not really going to write those down. We're just going to kind of use the screen and talk about it. And it's also on your review sheet that I'll be handing out in a minute also. Okay, so starting out, I'm going to give you a section on your quiz that asks you to translate, rotate, reflect all the transformations, just one ordered pair. So it's like a kind of like a short answer type section. So on the first one, I want you to translate the ordered pair -8, 6, 5 units right, and 3 units up. Okay, so it's similar. Obviously, I took out some words because I was writing it, but it's similar to a question you would see on your quiz Monday, just to take an ordered pair and to do that translation. All right, can anybody raise your hand and tell me what it's going to be? Aiden?
39.
No. Isla? Yes, -3, 9. -3. So -8 plus 5 is -3, and 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, so we're just adding those. All right, number 2, reflect. Reflect this ordered pair in the x-axis. Anybody have the answer? Anybody have it? Oh, come on. I know someone does. Colin?
-2, 6.
Yes, -2, +6. Do the opposite of y because I reflected x. All right, number 3, rotate this ordered pair 180 degrees about the origin. I will give you the key on Monday. Okay, so I was kind of debating. At some point, you do need them memorized, but we'll just keep working on that. I will give you the key on Monday for your rotations. All right, but what about 180 degrees? I don't need a key for that, right? Alexa, what'd you put?
-3.
-3, -4. Okay, all right, and then, of course, our fourth one is going to be a dilation. Dilate the ordered pair by a scale factor of 3. Ordered pair 5, 7 by a scale factor of 3. Remember, K is the variable that stands for scale factor. All right, Hope, did you get that one? Yep, 15, 21. All right, now I want you to give me the 3 degrees of rotations. What are the 3 degrees of rotations? All right, can we say those together? 90, 180. Yes, and 270 degrees. Very good. Okay, so now let's talk about similar figures. All right, I'm going to give you 2 figures. And the ratio of these perimeters is 2 to 5. 2 to 5. So I need you to find the unknown side length using the fact that the ratio of these perimeters is 2 to 5. All right, so if you remember back in our lesson, we set up a proportion, okay, using our first ratio and then comparing our second ratio. So go ahead and try that. All right, so Matthew, tell me the proportion you set up. What did you say?
2/5 to x over 8.
Very good. Equals x over 8. And then what method did you use to solve?
Cross.
Yep, cross products. So 5x equals 16. And what'd you get for your answer, Matthew? 3.2. You can have the fraction 3 1/5 or 3.2. Either one would be fine. All right, so great job on that. Just using similarity to solve for an unknown side length. All right, that'll be on your quiz. Okay, so a question just came up. How do I know to put x on top? It's because x is the first figure. And if it doesn't give me any other instructions, which for some reason these problems don't, I'm just going to read it left to right. Okay, So great question. All right, the last one we'll do on the scratch paper, then we'll go over to our graphs, is I want you to compare the perimeter and area of these similar figures, okay? So, sorry, I should have used the word ratio, okay? So write the ratio of the perimeters and the ratio of the areas from the left rectangle, or I'm sorry, the yellow rectangle to the green one, from yellow to green. So I'm going from the small one to the big one. All right, give me the ratio of the perimeters and the areas. From yellow to green, what would be my ratio for my perimeters? Anybody tell me, Isla?
P equals 8 over 12.
Okay, so P equals 8 over 12. Yes, and then can that be reduced?
Yes.
Yes, to what?
So it becomes 2 over 3.
Yes, it becomes 2/3. Okay, now for the area, I take my perimeter 2/3, and what do I do? What do I do, guys? Just tell me. I need to square it. Square the entire thing. Okay, so now it becomes 4 over 9. Okay, say, well, some of you might have squared the initial one, 64 over 144, but then you have to reduce it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You want these in simplest form. So perimeter, I just write the fraction, and then for area, I square it. Okay, any questions on that? All right, so now I'm going to go over to some graphs. This is just difficult for you to write on your desk, obviously, but it's important that we have it on the video so you guys can just review over it over the weekend, and you guys can walk through this with me. All right, so the triangle is on the graph. This is on your review sheet also. It's on your quiz and it's on your test, something very similar to this. I want you to translate this 4 units left and 1 unit down. The only thing you're doing here, okay, is you're taking each point and you're shifting it 4 left and 1 down. So point A would go here now. Point B would go here. And point C would go here. Okay, remember on our images, it's a dotted line. You guys remembering this? Okay, and then we want to label our points with A prime, B prime, and C prime. So you'll have a translation, you'll have a reflection, you'll have a rotation, you'll have a dilation. There are 4 of these on your quiz, 1 for each type of transformation, okay? So the reason I chose the second one, I couldn't find one exactly what I wanted. On your quiz, it's not going to be a combo transformation like that. It's just going to be a reflection. I just couldn't find one exactly like what I wanted. How can I reflect this image in the y-axis? Which way is it going to flip? Is it going to flip horizontally or vertically?
Horizontal.
It's going to flip horizontally because I need it to reflect across the y-axis. That means for each one of these points, whatever x value it's on, it's going to be on the opposite x value on the other side. All right, so now instead of a t being on a -2, now it's on a +2. Instead of r being on -4, now it's on +4, and same with s. I've got my dotted lines. All right, and then I just want to label my points again, S prime, R prime, and T prime, okay? But you see, guys, it's the same distance away from the y-axis. I just flipped it. All right, any questions there? Any questions on that? Okay, so it's definitely going to be on your quiz Monday. A dilation. So you have a question on your quiz that says, it doesn't say quite, is it a dilation? It says, it actually tells you, I'll verify that. I want to say it tells you it's a dilation and just tell what kind of scale factor it is. Okay, so let's look at these figures and try to determine if it is a dilation. Okay, so there's 2 ways that you can do it. You can compare corresponding angles or corresponding sides. All right, Sometimes corresponding angles, it's, depends on the figure. But do you see how the blue figure is 2 units tall? Do you see that? And now let's see how tall the red figure is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units tall. Okay. And then 2 units long, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units long. Okay, so how could I get from a 2 to an 8? Scale factor of what? 4. And if you wanted to take that further, okay, so this is a dilation. Yes. K equals 4. You also could prove it with ordered pairs. So you could just pull out 2 corresponding points. Let's say our x's. From blue, it goes -1 up 1. So x is -1 up 1. And x prime is -4 up 4. Do you agree that I could operate by that same scale factor to multiply by 4 to get to my new ones? Okay, so whether you're comparing angles or sides, you should still be able to prove the dilation of k equals 4. All right, you are going to have to tell me what the scale factor is. Okay. All right, last but not least, are the figures similar? All right, well, just looking at it, okay, I can tell that they look different, but just because they look different doesn't mean I can just say no and move on. I need to have some kind of proof. Some kind of proof. So I'm going off of actually what I just said in the last slide. I need to have some kind of proof here. What do you think? What do you think? All right. You could compare the corresponding sides, but that actually might throw you off a little bit. Okay, so look at these corresponding side lengths. From R to P, it goes by 3, and this goes up by 9. So to me, it looks like it's going to be a scale factor of 3. Okay. If I look at my lengths, I might see something's off. From 1 to 6, that's 5, and from 3 to 9, that's 6 units long. So that definitely shows me the corresponding sides are not going to line up, but also, let me see if I can pull up this other screen. Let's compare the corresponding angles. Really, that's your surefire way of being able to tell if 2 figures are similar. So let's look at P. Angle P is at 1, 3. Do you see that? P is at an ordered pair of 1, 3. Angle D corresponds, and it's at 3, 9. So how do you get from 1, 3 to 3, 9? Is there a scale factor that could be used there? Yes. 3, right? Okay, so 3 works. But now let's look at the other 2 pairs. R and F. Okay, so I'm just pulling out the ordered pairs for each point. Well, what do you think on that one? Does my scale factor work?
Yeah.
It does. So actually, so far so good. Let's look at Q and E. Does my scale factor work on that one? No. Which number actually broke the pattern? 9. So the X value for point E is what actually is making these figures not similar. So yes, you could compare corresponding sides and you probably would have enough information there. But really, when you compare the corresponding angles, you can actually pinpoint which ordered pair is throwing off the similarity. So as long as you have some kind of work. So I gave an explanation here. They're not similar because my scale factor does not work for angle E. Okay, you say, well, do I have to say exactly that on the quiz? No, you don't. But what I'm saying is you can't just say no on the quiz. You have to have a reason or an explanation. Whether you compare corresponding angles or sides, there's got to be some work there. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All right, we've pretty much covered everything on your quiz. I'm going to hand out your review sheets. We'll get going on those. They're not due until Tuesday, okay, but we'll get going on them today. You can use them to study for your quiz Monday. and you should be ready.